What are my rights and responsibilities? What is a right? A right is a privilege that we're all entitled to and which is protected by law, like the right to vote and the right to an education. A responsibility, on the other hand, is something we should all do, like recycling or treating people fairly.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Civic Sense, a show where we educate you on your rights and responsibilities as citizens of Nigeria. I'm your host Wasila Yusuf. On today's episode, we're talking about something crucial, which is making students understand their rights and responsibilities as citizens of this great nation. Now, whether you are a student of a primary or secondary school or the university, one of the key ways to thrive in the society is knowing your rights and also contributing your quota, which is your responsibilities, to the development and growth of Nigeria. Now, to kickstart our show, we're going to first talk about what's right. Rights are those privileges, protection, and freedom we get from being citizen of a country. Now, these rights are enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, which is known as the Fundamental Human Rights section. Now, what are these rights? First, we have rights to life. As a citizen of Nigeria, you have the right to live and the right to be protected by the government. And this includes the government not being unable to unlawfully take your life. Next, we have rights to dignity of human person. This right protects you from inhuman treatment. And as a student, this includes harassment, bullying, and any form of violence within the school. Next, we have right to fair hearing. Now, if you find yourself in a legal process or legal situation as a citizen of Nigeria, you have the right to be represented by a legal person, a legal practitioner. Next we have a right to fair hearing. Now, this is the right you enjoy as a citizen to be able to air your opinion freely, which includes rights I just mentioned amongst many of us what is enshrined in the Fundamental Human Rights section of the Nigerian Constitution. Now, with these rights comes responsibilities, which is why I mentioned in the beginning that we are talking about our rights and responsibilities as Nigerian students. Now, moving on to responsibilities as Nigerian citizens. First, we have obeying of law. We all know that a state without law, we fall into anarchy. So, therefore, it is our responsibilities as Nigerian citizens to obey the laws set by the state and the government in civic duties. It is our responsibilities to participate in civic duties, which includes voting every 4 years during elections. And now, moving on, we have service to the nation. This includes whether through community service or whether as a graduate of any higher institution in Nigeria, where you are obligated to serve your country for a period of 1 year before you can go into the labor market. Next, we have Defend Nigeria. Every citizen has a role in protecting the sovereignty of Nigeria, and this could be through military service, if needed, or by standing against anything that threatens the unity and peace of Nigeria. Understanding this responsibility is crucial because this is what makes the rights we mentioned earlier important, or what makes it. Now, to shed more light on understanding what our rights and responsibilities are as Nigerian students or Nigerian citizens, we have a guest on the show, and stay tuned. When we come back, you'll be meeting our guest. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We're still on Civic Sense, and my guest on the show today is none other than Dr. Mohammed Shuaibu, a lecturer of the Department of Political Science of Ahmadu Bello University. Thank you very much for coming on the show, sir.
Okay, nice to have you.
Okay, so, sir, we have a few questions to ask you concerning the rights and responsibilities of students as citizens of Nigeria. So, my first question is, what are the key rights and responsibilities that every Nigerian student should know, and why are they important?
The issues of rights and responsibilities are very important issues that have to do with citizenship in general. Citizenship has to do with, or is a symbiotic relationship between the state and the citizens. the citizens have certain rights that the state is supposed to protect. In return, they perform certain duties or responsibilities to the state. Each and every Nigerian, not only student, each and every Nigerian is supposed to enjoy these fundamental human rights. Basically, there are three major fundamental human rights. The first one is right to live. You have to be alive before you can enjoy other rights. The second one is right to own property. Now, if you are enjoying right to live and you don't have right to own property, you are as useless as not being a human being. While the third one is the right to liberty. Now, under right to liberty, there are several rights under it. We have right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of association, right to freedom of conscience, right to freedom of movement, among others. Now, all these rights are enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria, and each and every citizen of Nigeria is supposed to enjoy these fundamental human rights. And it is the responsibility of the state. If I say the state, I'm referring to Nigeria as a state.
Yes.
It's the responsibility of the state to protect these fundamental human rights. Now, in return, then the citizens also are supposed to perform certain responsibilities or certain duties to the state, such as payment of tax, such as respect to the constituted authority, such as respect to the constitution of the land, and also there are certain moral responsibilities that the citizens are supposed to perform. For instance, when you see someone vandalizing public properties, it is a responsibility to stop it, among other things.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir. So we've established that it's very important that students understand their rights and responsibilities. Now, how do teachers come in, like integrating these rights and responsibilities into their teaching curriculum that it doesn't overwhelm the students?
Really, this is very important. Let me make reference to France. In France, whatever course of study you are going to enroll in, you must study, in your first year, you must take courses that have to do with law, courses that have to do with history, and courses that have to do with civil responsibilities. Now, right from the beginning, you will know as a citizen what are your rights and what are your responsibilities. It is very important that this should be part of the curriculum or educational curricula right from primary school. It should be in, I know we have issues that have to do with rights and social studies in government, but in senior secondary school now in Nigeria we have what you call civic education.
Yes.
Now all these are important because they will instill that principle of patriotism in Nigeria. In Nigerians. Now, it is very important to include this in curriculum. For instance, in ABU, in many other Nigerian universities, we have GENS,
Yes.
these general studies, and under them, such issues are being taught. And they are I think they are just 1 credit unit. Yes, just 1 hour in a week, and it will not be overwhelming for the students.
Okay. So now, considering that, what are the challenges or misconceptions that students have about their rights and responsibilities?
The students of nowadays, I don't know, probably they don't have that background. It is in the current students now, in the university, you can spend 1 week without water, potable drinking water, you will not do anything. It is your right to have this water.
Yes.
It is your right to have access to electricity. And the students of nowadays will not rise up. I'm not saying you should, how should I put it? You should not be law abiding. No, there are certain rules and regulations you follow in order to make sure that your rights are being protected. You can protest, peaceful protest.
Yes.
You report to the authority that you want to protest, peaceful protest. Protest, it mustn't be demonstration. You can protest in writing, and many other ways. Now, by following this, students will be able to know their fundamental human rights. Many don't know. The issue of increase in school fees. Do you know it is enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution that it is the responsibility of Nigerian state to educate Nigerians?
Yes.
And now they are increasing school fees, meaning many Nigerians will not have access to education. And it should be, the accessibility, it should be for all. Now, students are supposed to know all these rights. And for them to know these rights, for instance, participation in students' activities, unionism, and other things will expose you to know all these fundamental human rights. Somebody or someone who doesn't participate in student activities, I don't think if that person will be able to know his fundamental human rights.
Okay. So now how do we find a balance between teaching students about their rights and their responsibilities to their community and state?
You see, as I said, it's symbiotic relationship. I remember in one of my classes, Jen's classes, I asked the students, can you die for Nigeria? Even you, I asked you, can you die for Nigeria? I asked the students, majority said no. Do you know why? It's the issue of balance.
Yes.
They said because Nigeria cannot die for them, as such they can't die for Nigeria. They complain that their freedom of movement is being restricted. You can't move as you like because of issues of insecurity. Freedom of to right of education is being restricted gradually. Only children of the poor now are having access to education. Now, the issue of balance, the state has to take up its responsibilities. When I was undergraduate students, I collected 2 sets of scholarship. The first one was my state bursary. Okay. Then later on, federal government introduced federal scholarship for those with 3 points and above of CGPA. And I enjoyed that too. But nowadays, governors have stopped giving students bursary. I don't know if your state, maybe you have been receiving. I can't even remember the last time I see people queuing to collect bursary. Now, these are the things. It has to be balanced. The state, both federal and state government, have to take up their responsibility. You also, as students, citizens, you have to take up your responsibilities also very well. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So how can schools they tackle issues of controversial, sensitive issues such as human rights violations in schools?
Yes, there are rules and regulations guiding that. You know, the school is not away from the country; it's part of the country,
yes.
And there are rules and regulations guiding that. But the issue of all these violations, for instance, sensitive issues, let's say child molestation, sexual abuse, and other things, unless people report, then there is no way we can overcome these issues. If, for instance, there is a lecturer that is trying to take advantage of you, you have the right to be a student. No lecturer has the right to deprive you of having your education. If there is this issue of victimization based on sexual abuse, there are channels to follow to report. Don't keep quiet. Report such kind of lecturers. If there are other things, for instance, probably if you are not satisfied with certain grades, there are channels to follow in order to make sure that you get your appropriate grades. Yes, the issue is that for you to enjoy fundamental human rights, you have to make sacrifices. Don't keep quiet. Organize yourself. That is why I said joining student activities, very important. Organize yourselves through your associations, then you can report such matters. Now, when you do this, definitely it will help in entrenching your fundamental human rights.
Okay. So now for you to enjoy these rights and also to play your role as an active citizen of Nigeria, you need to understand what these rights and rules are. So what role do educators now play? How do they make sure that, or what are the strategies that they can put in place to make sure that their students actually understand what their rights and responsibilities are in the society?
You know, I am a political scientist. That's what we teach. In our curriculum, all these are there. In social sciences, generally, we have them. That is why we have nationalism and others. Now, the curriculum, very important. 2, you as a student also, you need to read on your own to understand these human rights. Then, also lecturers are supposed to, from time to time, because degrees in Nigeria are awarded based on 2 things, based on learning and character. Now, under this character, we are supposed to teach character. Now, under this character, you include teaching students to understand their fundamental human rights. Now, these are ways we can use. Also, the Nigerian state also. The reason why many people, are not behaving the way they are supposed to behave is because the Nigerian state also is not having interest. It's not instilling that spirit of patriotism in us. Once you are a patriotic Nigerian, I don't think if you do anything that will bring about on the development of the country.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So now, how can schools involve parents, community leaders, and the government in teaching students about their rights and responsibilities?
It's part of the university law. There's what we call town and gown meetings. The university is supposed to be meeting with the host communities, mostly the traditional rulers of the host communities, to discuss these issues. And also the communities, it is their responsibility to report anything they think that would affect the university. The community, for instance, yes, the students have the right to dress the way they want, but you have to dress according to the tradition of the host communities, mostly if you are going out.
Yes.
And it's the responsibility of the management to educate the citizens, the students about that. And also the community, they have that moral responsibility to report whatever they see students are doing that are not correct. They should report them to the management. Now with this town and gown, then there is going to be peaceful existence, peaceful relationship between the university and the host community.
Okay, sir. So, what do you think are the long-term impacts of these students actually getting to knowing and understanding what their rights and responsibilities are?
Yes, the long term, the students, they are students now,
Yeah.
but our future leaders. Definitely it will have a long-term effect. Because when you graduate students based on learning and character, in future, the country will have a brighter future. But when you graduate students that don't have character, then they will end up continue to increase the challenges the country is facing.
Okay. So this will be our last question. So what are those successful strategies or programs that you've seen for teaching civic education in Nigeria that has been really, really effective?
I know you are students of mass communication.
Yes, sir.
The media is a very effective way of teaching. If you listen to radio, there are a lot of programs that teach students and Nigerian citizens about their civic rights. That's for those people that listen to radios. If you watch TVs also, mostly NTA channels, among others, there are programs designed by these channels to teach people. And even government has orientation agencies that teach students and Nigerians about their civic responsibilities and rights. And also, as I said, in the university, the curricula is there. And also, one thing that is very important also is we have to come back and regain our societal values back. Because it is only when these societal values are entrenched, then that's when this the relationship between responsibilities and rights will be effective. The value, you should not steal, you should contribute to the development of your country, you should work towards the progress of the country, among others. These are the values that Nigerians are supposed to have. And these values are what will make them to be patriotic Nigerians. Now, when we have this, the media, the university institutions, the traditional rulers, the civil society organizations, some are trying, but I think since government should be the overseer, government should encourage all these units in improving the civic education of Nigerian citizens.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, a wrap of the program today. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed the program, because I did. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show with us today.
Yeah, thank you very
We
much.
really appreciate your time.
You're
All right,
welcome.
that's it today for Civic Sense. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you stay true to yourself and continue to be good citizens of Nigeria. I am your host, Wasila Yusuf. Bye.